All right, in this lesson, we're going to go over columnar storage in BigQuery and kind of what it means for cost. This is a really important concept to understand about BigQuery because it really informs everything else that we're going to talk about, pretty much everything else that we're going to talk about, whether it be partitions, whether it be clusters, whether it be views. Understanding how BigQuery uses columnar architecture informs those things, as well as cost implications too. So in order to do this, we're going to use a public data set in BigQuery. And this is the natality data set, actually the natality table in the samples data set under the public data sets that are available through GCP. So these are data sets that are already available for you to use and play around with BigQuery if you want to. We can see here the schema. We've got source year, month, day, the day of the week, the state, whether the child is male. So this is so if you don't know what natality means, this is essentially birth records in BigQuery from the United States, I believe. So it's about, 130 million rows? Let's look at the number of rows here. Yeah, 137 million rows. So it's a pretty sizable data set, compared to some others that you might be working with. This is actually pretty small, but it's big enough that we can explore some of these concepts in BigQuery. So yeah, it's got a lot of different data about these birth records, and if we query this data set, we'll see, I'm going to go into this other tab here. There are a couple things to notice here. So I've got two queries up on the screen. So we've got one that does select star and the other that just pulls in the weight of the child. Both of them are filtering to year 2000 and limiting the number of results to 1000, right? But one of them is pulling in one column and the other is pulling in all of the columns. When we go back here to the table and the details about the table, we can see the size of the data set, the full size of the data set, right? We've got 21.94 gigabytes. And so I want you to think about, if we run each of these queries, how big do you think the query is going to be? How many bytes, how much data do you think is going to be processed? Again, we're filtering to 1 year, and we are limiting the results to 1000 rows in both queries. So both of these will return the same number of rows, right? But the difference is that this one is just pulling in one column, while this one is pulling in all columns. So if we run each of these, right, and we can zoom out to actually look at how much data would be run. If we run each of these, the one that pulls in all of the columns is going to query all of the data, 21.94 gigabytes when it's run. And the one that pulls in just one column is going to pull in only 2 gigabytes, 2.05 gigabytes of data. Now, why is that? So that's for a couple of reasons, okay? The main one is that BigQuery uses columnar architecture. So columnar architecture basically means that, most traditional databases store data row by row. And so each row sits together on a disk. The columns in that row all sit together on the disk. So in this case, we would have the weight in pounds next to the plurality, next to the age of the mother, the race of the mother. All of these things would be next to each other on disk. And they would all be packed together sequentially. If you want one column, you would still need to read every column because they are physically next to each other on the disk. Now, BigQuery does a different approach. It stores the data column by column because that actually allows for a better use of BigQuery for analytics purposes. So all of the values for weight underscore pounds, as we are pulling in here, are stored together. They are contiguous. They are separate from all of the values for year, which are separate from the values for the age of the mother, and so on. So conceptually, you can kind of think of each column being stored separately from all of the others. So when we write this query, BigQuery reads weight underscore pounds and only weight underscore pounds, never touches the other columns. So the amount of data that is read depends on which columns are referenced and how large those columns are. Whereas, obviously, in this query, we're pulling in all of the columns, so all of the data is being read. Now, one thing to note here is that BigQuery reads every column that your query references, not just the columns that are next to select. So the columns that are next to where, the columns that are in group by, order by, having, join. These are all things we might cover later. And all of those affect the number of columns that are read. So a query that selects one column but references 5 others in the where clause, for example, in order to do a filter, would still read 6 columns. Now, this is why, when you think about the costs in BigQuery, this is why BigQuery charges by bytes scanned and not by rows returned. So the cost driver is how many columns your query touches, how large those columns are. The table that we just looked at has about 50 columns here, maybe less than that. And query A read all of them. Query B read 1. So you would be charged about 10 times more for this query than you would be charged for this query. And that is where the difference in the cost comes from. Both of these queries are still very cheap, but it's worth just understanding how you're charged in BigQuery. Now, there's another benefit of this, and that is compression of this columnar architecture, and that is compression. So column stores compress well because if you think about it, the values in each column, if we go back to the table, the values in each of these columns are the same type, right? So all of the rows, in all of the cells in source year, in month, they are the same types as the other rows in each of those columns. So as indicated here in the schema, they are all integers, right? And what that means is that the compression algorithms can handle that efficiently. Additionally, if you think about these columns, you might have repeat values. So there are only, a certain number of years that can be represented in this data set. And so, you're definitely going to have repeat years. And again, compression algorithms can handle those pretty conveniently. It might contain the same value hundreds of times, thousands of times, millions of times, and compression algorithms are better at handling that compared to in a row store where types are interleaved. You've got a float in the row, you've got a string in the row, you've got an integer in the row. And so there is much less repetition for the compressor to exploit and help reduce the size of the data. So the result is less data read from the disk and less data moved across the network inside Google's infrastructure when you use columnar architecture, which is what BigQuery is designed for. So another thing to note is, in a row store, adding a column to a table is nearly free at read time. You are already reading that entire row, so it's very cheap. In a column store, though, every column you add is a column that a careless query might scan. And so that's why it's especially important to be mindful of these select star statements and really like think about what the columns you need are in BigQuery. It also impacts things like your schema, your whether you want to denormalize or normalize the table. Denormalization is actually something that's encouraged in BigQuery. We'll cover that later as well. And so you can start to see here how the storage layout in BigQuery, this single thing that we've spent 10 minutes talking about, is the foundation of everything else in BigQuery. It affects partitioning, it affects clustering, it affects your approach to views, it affects the design of your schema, it affects whether you normalize or denormalize, because these are all strategies for reading fewer bytes in BigQuery, making the queries faster, making them cheaper, and you need to understand columnar storage in order to really understand what each of those strategies does. So something to think about is, if the storage format changes, the economics of every query, what else does that change? What assumptions from a row store database that we're used to would no longer hold? These are kind of interesting questions to get into. I like approaching these things from the perspective of really trying to understand the why behind things. I hope you can appreciate that approach here. But we're really starting with the basic concept that BigQuery uses columnar architecture for its storage, and this kind of has a downstream effect on everything else. So the key takeaways here: BigQuery uses columnar storage. The cost, is the number of bytes scanned, and selecting fewer columns means scanning fewer bytes, and that means lowering cost. All of the referenced columns count. So if you are including columns in your select statement, in your where clause, or if you're using joins, each column you reference adds to the total amount of money that you're charged. The limit clause here does not reduce the number of bytes scanned. BigQuery reads the column data first and then just limits the output. So we saw that this query was much cheaper than the other query, even though they're both returning 1,000 rows. And columnar storage also enables better compression because the values in a column are often similar or repetitive and the types are the same. And so compression algorithms can exploit that efficiently. Okay. I hope this was helpful. Let me know what you think. And I'll be releasing more walkthroughs, tutorials, discussions like this. Thanks so much.